Hey everyone, Mr. Justin here with the Hernando County Public Library System, and thank you so much for joining us for another science video. We've got a fun one today. We are going to learn how to make butter, and in doing so we are going to take a liquid and turn it into a solid. And so all we need for this is we need a jar that you can close up nice and tight, that's not going to leak anywhere, and heavy whipping cream, and that's really all you need in order to make butter. And it's pretty cool. So heavy whipping cream is a liquid, and you'll see as I pour it into the jar, you can see that it is a liquid. It keeps the shape of the object that it's in, so it's kind of has the shape of the jar right now. It had the shape of the carton in here. I'm going to fill it up a little less than halfway, and we see we have our liquid here, and we are going to turn this liquid into a solid. So we're going to close this up nice and tight. Make sure that it's not going to leak, and all we're going to do now is shake. So you can tell that when you're shaking this, you can feel that you've got the liquid in here. You can hear the sloshing of the liquid going back and forth, and you can hear that we still have a liquid in here. But the more and more that you shake it, it is going to start sounding a little differently. You're not going to hear as much sloshing, and you're going to hear a little more of a solid. So we are taking a liquid and turning it into a solid, and that solid in that case is butter. So what's happening while we're doing this is when we're shaking the cream, the fat molecules, because this cream is mainly made of just molecules of fat, they're going to actually leave their normal position, and it's going to clump together and help form that solid. And solid will end up having kind of their own shape rather than liquids that take the shape of whatever container that they're in. So in this case, all the fat molecules are going to be clinging together, and it's forming that lump of butter. And heavy cream has a very high fat content. So we're shaking this together, and it still sounds like it's very liquidy. So you just keep shaking. If your arms get tired, you can pass it off to a parent or a sibling or a friend, and they can take their turn and shake it, and you can keep shaking. And so again, we are separating the fat molecules from kind of the liquid that's in here. So in some cases you might end up with like a liquid and a solid, and that liquid, what's left over, is going to be the buttermilk. And we don't want that in this case, but you can actually separate that, use that for some purposes. But what we want is we want the solid. And I still hear a little bit of liquid in here sloshing, but it is definitely getting more solidified in here, which is exactly what we want. So depending on how much you have, depending on how well you shake it, how much you shake it will depend on how long it takes. Also, the temperature of the heavy whipping cream before you do it also will kind of dictate how long it's going to take. If it is room temperature, it's going to take a little shorter than if it's right out of the fridge and it's really cold. And I am not getting much sloshing at all, so I think we are pretty good right now. Let's go ahead, and we're going to open it in just a minute, and we're going to see what it looks like and see if we successfully transformed a liquid into a solid. Another way you can do that is if you just take water, and what can you do with water in order to make it into a solid? You can freeze it, right? You can put it in the freezer, and that will change it into a solid. Of course, then it melts and can go back to being a liquid once you apply heat to it. Okay, let's open this up. Let's see what we've got. And we indeed do have butter right there. So it was a liquid, the heavy cream, when we put it in there, and we shook it up, and we formed kind of nice, almost looks like a whipped butter, right? In some cases, you might have more of an extra. You could put it into a container. You can sift out you can separate the solid from the liquid. You might get some buttermilk here. It looks like I don't have a lot of liquid in here right now. I could shake it some more, maybe solidify it a little more, but this is pretty good whipped butter right here. And you know what I like to put butter on? I like to put butter on bread. So you can then serve it and put a little butter, and let's see how it tastes. That's pretty good. But it's missing a little something. What you can also do, that I'm going to do right here, then I'm going to separate a little bit more. And I am going to add a little bit of salt to it. Just so we have salted butter. What else you can do is you can, and you don't want to add too much because a little, but not much is coming out right now. A little salt goes a long way. And what else you can do is you can put herbs into it. You can do cinnamon and honey into it, and that sounds like that's going to be delicious too. So let me just shake that up. Let's get our bread back right here, and let's see if we have our salted butter now. There we go. Definitely salted. Probably added more than I thought I would add, but it still tastes pretty good. So what we did successfully today is we went ahead and we took a liquid, we turned it into a solid with our little butter right there with the heavy whipping cream into butter by shaking it. We separated the fat molecules and it kind of all lumped together and formed the lump or the solid shape of butter. Thank you so much for joining us this time. I hope you have fun making butter at home, and we'll see you all later. Bye.